First try, I was trying to export a video and do too much at once, and the computer said, not doing it.
Every Saturday.
In any case, I'm hoping to see some chats here before too long.
Right around Saturday evening.
Pull that up so I can see it. We got Jen Lyle, Rachel Cooper. I think that was from the last time.
Man, the struggles with technology. I can see the effect that it's had just on.
So if everything is working correctly, we should have gone live on both Twitter
that dropped off when we were really active,
YouTube
able to upload
and the
able to
website
out there.
all at the same time. You'll forgive me if I
there's a
am
lot more
looking
interaction
around.
on the YouTube page and on these other pages. So
with any luck at all, I'll start seeing some chats come in.
Pretty hard at the momentum that we have been building.
All of the audio is
we were
correct.
dropping so many great interviews.
In any case, while
such a
we're
high
waiting
rate
for that,
and then we dropped down into an area of the
there
country,
we go.
which
I
really didn't expect to have
Jen
zero
Lyle and Maddie
Wi-Fi and
Ringwald.
no
Awesome.
cell
Can you guys let me know if
at
you can hear me
all,
okay? First off, we'll start there, and then I'll kind of get into a little bit of
at the same time, but
what
it just put us completely
doing
behind
here
on all the uploads and everything else
while
that we
we're
needed
waiting
to
on
get
that.
done,
Hello, Jody.
to keep things moving forward,
So
and just staying in
what we're
basic
planning on doing
communication on the
is
different platforms.
regular weekly
that
live
was just
streams where we'll
basically
catch up
almost
with the road
impossible.
crew.
So,
We'll maybe do some
fortunately,
follow-up
guys like
interviews
you
with some of the
and
people
Ben
that
out there in
Corin
LA, you guys have
started
been
out
able to
interviewing 3
kind of,
weeks ago when
fill
this
in
whole
some of
thing
the
started.
blanks for us while we've
And
been in the
it's also going to
kind of
be,
in the,
there's
I
a
don't
lot
know
of
what you call it,
background noise.
we
I
were
will
through the
attempt to
Stargate
fix
for a
that
while.
in the next iteration. There is a bit of a delay.
Yeah, we were completely
You're
incommunicado.
seeing
We didn't have
what
a
I was saying.
a dial home device, so to speak.
I don't know, about 20 or 30
to
seconds ago.
access
Hello,
to
Michelle.
to get out of to get off the planet we were on.
So I'm
But we met some
hoping to
amazing
see
people,
some
amazing people.
folks chat in
awesome.
from
There are a couple of new
YouTube
volunteers,
just to make
actually.
sure
We've
that
got,
works.
Kat and,
We weren't
Michelle's
able to
gonna
have
be coming
Corin
on
live
board,
today.
today or tomorrow to
He
help
and
with
I got
scheduling.
together earlier
Both
today
forward,
and
both
due to a
looking
mix
forward
up, and
and
this is
looking
what caused the false start actually.
And
I had to
Michelle is
get the
also,
video from a different place
interested in possibly
do
trying
some
to
audio
call
things
around
and
get
make a
some
different video
sponsorships for like
so that it would
Honey or
work.
some other things along those
But we
lines.
do have it,
We've got some
and
other
we are going to
volunteers,
play it, and we have an
Elstra,
update from
Indiana.
Corin about what's coming next and
Has,
kind of where
Bobby
he's
Ben
been
is
for the
doing
last
that
week and a
thing.
half
I
as
will
he went
be,
dark.
Calling Chad. We think we have
Not
a
seeing
solution
a
that
whole lot
will
of chats from YouTube.
with your internet thing. The actual
And I'm wondering
satellite
if that is
solution
an
costs
issue
about
with
$15,000
YouTube
a
or
month,
what.
we
So
decided
I'm
to
going to
get
check a
that
few things over here. Keep in mind, bear with me. This is a new thing. This is a new test.
Actually, there's a way to boost your signal while you're on
okay.
the road, even, and hopefully
And
we'll get to hear from you more
Not sure
often
yet.
because people have
So
been missing
we'll
you.
take a look around. We'll
Yes,
see
and
what's
also,
going on. One of the things that we're
I've
going to
been
be able
speaking
to
with
do
Ben, and
is
he can get a satellite kind of editing unit in LA, and then we can drop the all of the interviews, the real serious interviews. We can send those to the cloud. They'll get them there, and they can edit them off site for us. Because the biggest thing that's been hampering us a lot in being able to do more kind of adventure documentary stuff and show what's in the areas that we're going to, what's around there, what is the downtown like. We haven't had time to do that because we've been editing and uploading and doing all of that stuff, on all of the videos. So I think that once that gets set up there, that will free us up to do a lot more of the vignette stuff. There's a fly that keeps crawling across my phone. It's hilarious. So that's going good. And I know me and Chad haven't been able to do a catch-up video either yet because all my memory space was filled up with all the interviews that we hadn't been able to put out yet. And I couldn't fill up the memory space anymore. So now we've got that sorted. Me and Chad are, because now we've started uploading stuff. I've started getting stuff off of hard drives and getting it into other areas. So we'll be able to do a catch up within the next day or so to really go into detail on some of the experiences down here, because that was one of the most important things to me. And when we weren't able to do the catch up video after leaving Tennessee, I was just absolutely gutted, you know. And then we were in Alabama,
Later.
and we weren't, you know, it was the same
So,
situation down there,
just
you
to let
know,
you know that that is what is going on.
and you know, we were
Without
only in
further ado,
Alabama,
what I'm
really
going to do is
satelliting
go ahead
from
and play
Tennessee. So we
this
were in
video
Tennessee,
from Corin
driving
that we
down to
recorded
Alabama,
earlier.
doing
I
some
was able
interviews for
to,
the
we were
day,
able
and then
to
driving
reach
back up
him
to the
down there in
location, which didn't
Mississippi.
have Wi-Fi
And
or
so I'm going to
cell
let
service.
him kind of let you know what's going
Didn't
on.
have Wi-Fi or cell
And
service.
keep in
So,
mind that this is
you know,
pre-recorded, but I will be watching the
it's been
chat for
tough, and
questions
we've been working
afterwards.
our butts off.
So here
But
we go.
you know, we're trying to get, you know, more. What's up, Husky?
Morning, Corin.
What's up, my
Afternoon.
man?
Evening.
How's the pup? How's the pup over there? I saw
Cass,
the pup
where are
pop
you?
up earlier.
Come here, Cass. Come on.
Where's Cash?
Come here, Cass.
Everybody needs to meet Cash. With what's
And we are
left,
going to start that
won't be able
over
to get into Florida at this point. We need to address the issues with the RV. So, you know,
give me
from
1
here in
second here
Ocean
because it's not
Springs,
full
it's
screen.
looking
It
like
should
we're
have
gonna
been
have to
full
go back to
screen. Like I said, I
Houston
did a
until
lot
we
of this
can get
stuff
a fundraiser going that's going to get us enough to safely
on the
go into
fly
Florida,
right before we tried it.
with
So
what we have now,
let's do this one more
once we got
time
into
and
Florida,
see if we
if
can't
a
make it
miracle
work.
didn't happen, Husky.
Morning, Corin. Afternoon. Evening.
How's the pup? How's the pup over there? I saw
Cass,
the pup
where are you?
pop up earlier.
Come here, Cass. Come on.
Where's Cash?
Come here, Cass.
Everybody needs to meet Cash.
Yeah, actually, that's short for Castiel.
There's Castiel. Look at you, you beautiful dog. You're so cute. Oh, he's going to be the star of the show. Now, if Castiel was on the Love America tour driving around the country, there'd be millions of followers by now.
We can do it. Hold on, yeah. All right, so we're recording for a live stream that's going to be happening here shortly. Just the intro, kind of basically, this is what we're going to be doing. This is one of the secret projects we've been working on, and we're going to be doing it every Saturday at a time to be determined, but right around Saturday evening at some point. In the meantime, why don't you tell us how your week has gone?
Man, the struggles with technology, you know, I can see the effect that it's had just on the, like, for instance, the number of merchandise that dropped off in turn when we were really active, able to upload everything, able to get stuff out there. There was a lot more interaction with the merchandise page. There was a lot more interaction on the YouTube page and on these other pages. So I can see that it really hit pretty hard at the momentum that we had been building up, because we were dropping so many great interviews so quickly at such a high rate of speed. And then we dropped down into an area of the country which I really didn't expect to have zero Wi-Fi and no cell service at all, you know, which was shocking. It was kind of cool that, you know, at the same time, but it just put us completely behind on all the uploads and everything else that we needed to get done, you know, to keep things moving forward, and just staying in basic communication on the different platforms. That was just basically almost impossible. So fortunately, guys like you and Ben out there in LA, you guys have been able to kind of fill in some of the blanks for us while we've been in the kind of in the I don't even know what you call it. We were through the Stargate for a while.
Incommunicado.
Yeah, we were completely incommunicado. We didn't have a dial home device, so to speak, to access to get out of to get off the planet we were on. But we met some amazing people. Amazing people.
That's awesome. There are a couple of new volunteers, actually. We've got Kat and Michelle is going to be coming on board today or tomorrow to help with scheduling, both looking forward and looking behind. And Michelle is also interested in possibly trying to call around and get some sponsorships for like an RV or some other things along those lines. We've had some other volunteers. Al Stroh out of Indiana has hopped. Yeah, Bobby Ben is doing that thing. I will be calling Chad. We think we have a solution that will help with your internet thing. The actual satellite solution costs about $15,000 a month, so we decided to get that out.
Yeah.
we think that actually there's a way to boost your signal while you're on the road even, and hopefully
Yes.
we'll be able to hear from you more often because people have been missing you.
Yes, and also I've been speaking with Ben, and he can get a satellite kind of editing unit in LA, and then we can drop the all of the interviews, the real serious interviews. We can send those to the cloud. They'll get them there, and they can edit them off site for us. Because the biggest thing that's been hampering us a lot in being able to do more kind of adventure documentary stuff and show what's in the areas that we're going to, what's around there, what is the downtown like. We haven't had time to do that because we've been editing and uploading and doing all of that stuff, on all of the videos. So I think that when once that gets set up there, that will free us up to do a lot more of the vignette stuff. There's a fly that keeps crawling across my phone. It's hilarious. So that's going good. And I know me and Chad haven't been able to do a catch-up video either yet, because all my memory space was filled up with all the interviews that we hadn't been able to put out yet, and I couldn't fill up the memory space anymore. So now we've got that sorted. Me and Chad are, because now we've started uploading stuff. I've started getting stuff off of hard drives and getting it into other areas. So we'll be able to do a catch up within the next day or so, to really go into detail on some of the experiences down here, because that was one of the most important things to me. And when we weren't able to do the catch up video after leaving Tennessee, I was just absolutely gutted, and then we were in Alabama, and we weren't, it was the same situation down there, and we were only in Alabama, really satelliting from Tennessee. So we were in Tennessee, driving down to Alabama, doing some interviews for the day, and then driving back up to the location, which didn't have Wi-Fi or cell service. So, oops, sorry, didn't have Wi-Fi or cell service. So, it's been tough, and we've been working our butts off, but we're trying to get more footage for the interviews, to trying to jazz them up a little bit, make them a little bit nicer on and appealing from an editing perspective, which we're doing our best on fumes right now, and with what's left, we won't be able to get into Florida at this point, and we need to address the issues with the RV. So, from here in Ocean Springs, it's looking like we're gonna have to go back to Houston until we can get a fundraiser going that's going to get us enough to safely go into Florida. Because with what we have now, once we got into Florida, if a miracle didn't happen, we would be stuck on the road, or just have to suddenly turn around and hightail it back to Houston with our tail between our legs. So instead, it's like we can kind of do sort of a first closeout, kind of maybe call it a first season, because we've got 24 freaking episodes or more. So maybe we'll close that out like as a first season, and then go into raising the money to get back out and get to Florida, get to Georgia, get to South Carolina and North Carolina, on and on and on. Because that's the goal.
With all of the technological problems that you've had on this trip, that you've worked so hard to overcome, and actually there's an army of people working in the background too that are working to overcome these. You've got to admit that this is way, way better than if the problem was you couldn't find any decent or interesting Americans on your tour.
That's impossible.
Well,
everybody's has a story that is that's worth listening to. Number one, everybody has a story that is worth telling, and it's strange, because one thing I do notice is some people are like, I'll have to talk to them a little bit about getting into to even do the interview, because they're like, no one wants to hear my story. My story is not interesting. Yeah. I'm not important. And it's like, and to me, that is so striking, because that's the paradigm shift that I want to see happen, along these lines, at least with the people that are following along with us and supporting this, is becoming more interested in those around us, and getting to know those around us, and giving them, granting them the importance that they deserve. Each of us as individuals have the ability to grant that importance to someone else, and normally the reflection back at us will be the same thing. They will grant us back the same type of beingness, and grant us back the same type of importance, as a reflection of that. And if we can get that, sort of like a disco ball effect of that kind of interaction happening between people, I think it's kind of game over for us not being able to dialogue and sit down and get along and move along.
I can tell you that we're going to be, as you know, we're going to be following up with all of the interviewees.
That's right.
And man, I can tell you from my point of view. I mean, I heard the same thing. My nobody wants to hear my story. My story isn't interesting. From everybody I talked to here in Missouri, trying to get the interviews filled up. And the response that I had was, "You don't think your story is interesting because you've already read it.
Exactly. And
Nobody else has read it."
We're pre-programmed to project outwards towards the important people, to look at those that the media spotlights, or the film business spotlights, or whoever it is, the music business, they spotlight one person, and then they make you think, oh, that person is really important because they do this thing.
Mhm.
Maybe they're an actor. This is the thing about acting. Acting, it may look like it's really tough, like it's and it can be long hours and all of that, but it's not a tough job to do. To memorize lines, to create a character, to be relaxed on set, to deliver a good performance. It's not rocket science, and it's not nearly as difficult as building a house. So the carpenter who's building the house, to me, is far more significant than my ability to entertain someone with an acting role. Their ability to house someone with a building, with a structure, is going to serve a far greater purpose in the long run than my ability to entertain. So why don't I want to know about that guy's life? I do.
I got to tell you, I'm a little bit got a different point of view on that. I think anybody who has put in the effort to perfect their trade, whatever it is, carpentry, firefighting, acting, whatever it is, that's a person that's worth listening to, because they've learned some stuff along the way that everybody can benefit from. And man, once you've done something like that, you get really good stories. You collect them. Things happen.
Yeah, I'm not belittling the talent
Oh,
of being
no,
an
no.
artist at all. I'm really not. I know it sounded that way, but but having done construction work myself, and working all day in the Houston heat, building an add-on to a house for somebody else, and just doing the regular day labor work, which I grew up as in the film business as an actor. Sometimes I was acting like I was pounding nails, but I wasn't really pounding nails, And so my experience when, being an adult and going, hey man, I got to go and earn extra money. So I'm going to go do these construction jobs with my buddy, Steve McQueen, who we did the interview with. Um, you know, it taught me that, man, there is so much precision, so much, uh, um, technique that goes into building even a basic square room, if you're going to do it right, and when I realized, just how much work went into that, and how people were just backbreaking sometimes. And I think about what my experience on set is like, oh, in between a scene where maybe I do get dirty, or they have to spray fake sweat on me to make me look like I've been, working hard or something, I go back to my trailer and the air conditioner is on, and I can take a nap for 45 minutes between scenes. That's not how it's like on the construction site. You're not taking 45-minute naps between nailing this 2x4 and putting, that piece of concrete down. It's like, so I learned a whole different kind of profound respect for, for working in general, really. But I've always taken my craft very seriously, and I love it. But everybody who, like you said, everybody who's taken time out to survive and get by in life and do the right thing and make the right choices and live a good life that isn't harmful to anybody else, that's nothing but a benefit to society.
Absolutely.
Every single one of those people is so vastly important to keeping the gears oiled, to keeping the gears greased, because that's the only thing keeping this country going right now, is all the people who aren't afraid to work.
Yep.
That's the
And
only thing that's keeping this thing going right now. If the wheels came off of that, forget about it. It's over. You know.
I gotta tell you, in the wake of the tour, I've mentioned this on Twitter. I don't know if you've seen it, but one of the things is, in the wake of this tour, I have watched people interview and tell you their stories. I've been privileged enough to get to watch this, and it has largely restored my faith in humanity, because there are other people out there. The majority, actually, it turns out, are good, hardworking, fun-loving people. And we're not going to agree on everything, but they have learned lessons that maybe I haven't learned yet, and I can take that away. And they've got stories. You can't do anything for any length of time. Something interesting is going to happen to you, a funny story or something that taught you something. Everybody's got that. And you have been shining a light on that with this tour, and it has really revitalized my faith in humanity. So thank you for that.
You bet, man. Well, you know, for instance, I did an interview with Steve's grandmother, and she's, you know, just a little old lady in her early 90s. You know, she's just as sweet as cherry pie. And when Steve's brother found out that we had taken the time out to interview his grandmother and get her story and all of that, he reached out and got in touch with me. Like, he got my number and everything from Steve, and reached out and got in touch with me, and was just like, I mean, no joking, nearly in tears, you know, thanking us for memorializing, you know, someone who's so important to their whole entire family. And now it's something that's going to be out there for their kids and grandkids and great grandkids and all of that, to always be able to see and go back and watch their grandmother tell some stories about the exploding mason jars in the basement, or, you know, or just her life story, you know, with her parents, you know, her father working as a sharecropper, and what it was like growing up back in the, you know, in those early in the 1930s and such, you know. So
Stuff we
it's
can
wild.
only read about. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's very
Has that one
exciting.
dropped yet? I'm a little bit
No,
behind.
I have one. It's been uploading all day because of our reset, but I have one that's first uploading, called "Mystery of the Exploding Mason Jars," which is there's two versions of this story, which you'll hear. I love it. It's one of my favorite interviews. Oh, it's not even an interview. It's one of my favorite segments so far. But Steve, he has a version. I'm not going to say the versions of the story because you got to watch it, but he has a version of the story that he remembers from being a kid. And then the grandmother has her version of what really happened.
Oh, I cannot wait.
And it's I was able to spend some, you know, some extra time, because we were down, you know, on the digital, all that. So I spent a little extra time trying to edit that one and figure out my own editing technique, so I don't leave everything up to the other guys. So we'll see how that turned out. It's a slightly different take on what we've been doing. But and then we did a full interview with her. So I just caught her telling this story, and I wanted to, you know, because Steve had just been talking about it, you know, and so I had filmed him, and he tells this story, and then suddenly she's in the living in the kitchen, and she starts telling the same story. So I set up the camera real quick and just recorded it, you know.
That's going to be an
so
awesome clip.
Yeah, it's a great little segment. So that should be uploaded in the next 30 minutes or so.
Okay, so I know that there's a planning meeting that we got to have in the next day or so, but ultimately, what is next for the Love America tour?
Well,
Just the next couple of days, like this next week. What can we expect?
You know, well, I can tell you. I mean, what we can expect is a lot more great interviews. But the one thing that I also want to say is that, you know, when people look at what they've put their money into, what they've invested into, you know, when you think about, in less than a month, in 3 weeks, we have recorded, you know, upwards of of 30 interviews or more in five or six different states, 30, 40 interviews, 5, 6 different states. You know, we have proven the business plan or business model that we set out to. We just didn't realize, you know, what the cost that was going to be going into it. But what's come out of it is we've got, you know, this whole Zoom studio is all set up now. We've got a website that is now launched, which consolidates everything. We have, you know, a bunch of other things that are all going on at the same time that are really making things that are going to be a lot smoother in the future. So as we continue to release, we have videos left from Tennessee we haven't released. We have all the videos from Alabama we haven't released. And then here in Mississippi, we already have too many interviews set up. We have about 5 or 6 set up that we have to do in 2 days. And then there's a couple of more people who already want, you know, to join in and let us ask them about their life story. And so I think by the time we leave Mississippi, we might have, you know, 10, 11 more interviews. I don't know. I mean, you know, it just depends on how much memory space we have left by then. And then we'll have to head back to Houston, deal with the RV, you know, figure out, you know, are we going to stay in that one? Is he going to give us a really rock bottom rate on it to make sense out of the gas, you know, that we have to pay for that thing, which is just, you can't believe how fast it sucks the money out of the budget, the size of that RV. And
yeah.
And then I also wasn't, you know, quite as you know, as aware of you know, taking care of 3 guys on the road as well. It's not,
That can be quite the challenge.
yeah, exactly, man. But you know, it's been fantastic. You know, and like here at
And that's where we lost Corin. But just kind of to recap, as far as the Love America tour goes, if it never went any further, mission accomplished. They still got a ton of interviews to drop. I think during the live stream, while we've been live and watching that video of Corin, I believe one half at least of the Mason store or the Mason jar story that he was talking about has dropped. They still have the other one. I'm sorry I'm not able to type in there, but we are live and I'm a little out of practice. I will get better, I promise. We are going to have regular live streams, probably going to be every Saturday. Next time we hope to have Corin live, you will probably see a couple of test runs coming up during the week. Please, if you can, log on to those and basically help us to find out. I mean, you're the only one that's going to be able to tell us, is it working? Is it good? What needs to be fixed? We've already got a bunch of feedback on some things that I need to fix here for the next one. So that's the plan, is we'll go back, we'll fix all of that stuff, and then we'll try it again, and hopefully next Saturday this show will be much better. Let me go ahead and okay, how about now? Is the sound back now? Something's wrong with that other scene. Okay, probably because I didn't want any sound on there, because that's the scene that I generally use when we walk back. But anyways, I wanted to let you know that the chat was absolutely going crazy, which is cool. We like that. We're going to be looking at a number of other things as well. We're going to be working on this. So if you see, I think I said this while I was on the chat screen, if you see us go live, throughout the week. If you can, log on. If not huge deal, although you may want to log on because it could also be Corin kind of logging in and doing a live thing. But if it is a test, if you have some time, log in, take a look, help me figure out what all needs to be fixed, what could be better, that kind of thing. Also, other things that have launched, loveamericatour.today is the website address for the Love America Tour. There's a lot of cool information on there. Plus, there's a link to the merch store. If you haven't gotten your Love America Tour shirts or coffee mugs, I'm getting a coffee mug or whatnot. All of that stuff is going to be on there. We will be doing different fundraising events, playing games. Again, we'll be catching up with the road crew live when they have internet. We're going to be doing follow-up interviews. Anybody who has been interviewed for the Love America Tour, we're going to be contacting you and seeing about getting some follow-up interviews. What all has changed for you since since you were interviewed? Have you been watching the interviews, and do you notice a common thread between them? For me, I think Leanna Perez, your design is available. We've got a lot of designs available. There are a lot of people actually working behind the scenes to make this happen. We're proud of each and every one of them. There are going to be, there's a Patreon site out there that's very soon to get tiers put up. There's a lot of people working really hard to make this better every single day. And so one of the things that we're going to be doing is at least once a week on Saturday evenings, time to be determined, but pretty close to 7 o'clock Central, probably. We will be doing live updates. We'll be getting the new information out there, and we'll be going live throughout the day. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to go ahead and cut this off because I think that's pretty much all we have to cover. However, I will leave the chat windows up in case you guys want to. One thing real quick before I do this, and I'm gonna leave it live with the chat window up until I see the answer. If you're on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, can you see the people from Twitter that are chatting in the Periscope, and vice versa? If you're in Periscope, can you see the people with that are chatting from YouTube? And I'll go ahead and leave you with that. We've got more stuff coming. Stay tuned. Oh, when you see stuff, anything from Love America Tour, retweet it. If you're tweeting about the Love America Tour, use the hashtag Love America Tour. Let's get that stuff out there. When you see the lives, the go lives, Corin going on with the weekly roll-ups and all of the stuff with Chad, retweet that. Liking it is great. That shows us that you're there and you appreciate it and stuff. But retweeting is how we're really going to get the word out on this. And Love America Tour started as an idea, and you got to understand that it has grown into so much more than that. And I will let Corin talk about that the next time that we go live. For now, we'll see you, and I appreciate that. We'll go ahead and leave the chat room up for a couple more minutes if you guys want to just play around, and then we'll call it a night. So you guys have a good night. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving me the feedback that you've given me so far. It lets me know what I need to do to make this better. So have an awesome day, and here comes the chat, and I'm out of here.